Welcome back to NV Board Gaming Channel. Today we're going to take a look at Underwater Cities. This is a 1 to 4 player game designed by Vladimir Suchi and published by Rio Grande Games. Nick is going to give us a brief overview of the game and then we're going to give our review.
All right, we're set up for a 2-player game of Underwater Cities, where we are overpopulated apparently, so we're going to be building cities underwater. Apparently, we cannot do Mars at the time, so let's try this underwater thing and see how it goes. So, easiest thing to learn to play. Let's check out our reference sheet. And oh my God, look at this reference sheet. Who would do this to you? This is insane. Don't be scared though. I'm going to explain the game. Look at all the iconography though. How brutal is that? If you're just learning board games, this is something you do not want to see. But I'm going to make it easy for you. The game is not that bad. So, in Underwater Cities, we're going to start the game with these resources. We got kelp, we got steel, I think they call it like bioplast or something like that. Steel plast, that's what it's called. Research here, or science, and coins. Credits, I believe they call them. Here we go. We start with 6 cards. I'm going to throw these out here. And we're going to draw down to 3. So I have to pick which 3 I want. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and discard these 3 and teach how to play here. So I just throw them in this discard. They can be face up. All right. So now I'm down to 3 cards. You can notice there's different colors because they match the different places you can assign your divers with yellow, red, and green. Normally, the green actions here are weaker, but the cards are stronger. So you're going to try to match your card. You're going to try to play cards where you assign your diver. So if I want to take one of these spots, I want to assign a green worker or a green card as well, because then I can do the card action, not just the action on the board. So on my turn, I can say I'm going to assign my diver to one of these actions. And I'm going to play this card. And you can do this in any order. You can do the action on here or the card first, whichever helps. So let's say I assigned here. This spot's for turn order. You can see that right here with the seal. So right now, blue player is first. So I'm gonna move up to the Federation. So maybe you're gonna see I immediately get a credit when I do that. And also I am in first place for turn order next round, if I were to finish on top of purple. So you assign your worker and you assign a card. So what do all these cards do? Let's take a look. This in most games means immediately. It's the same here. You get a credit. That's all this card's doing. Like I said, stronger actions in green, weaker actions in green, stronger cards. That's a pretty weak card. It is a yellow card because their actions are quite stronger than green's. In this situation, we're looking at that, and it says I can build a green, which is a farm, or a yellow on an expansion slot. So let's look at our board. What's an expansion slot? So here's where we have put our cities. Here's where we put our little buildings. And we can, there we go. There's an expansion slot, it's slashed. Normally you can't build on those, but this card that I showed you lets you do that. And it says down here, so you don't have to just look at iconography, you can just read. Cool. So we play that card. Boom, we do that action, and we do the action that we assign to in any order. And we move along, and we draw a card, because we're always going to have 3 cards in our hand. Boom. This is private information, by the way. That is always show, so you can see what's going on. So I pay whatever it costs. So, all right, well, what do I have to do that? I should mention that, huh? So to do these actions, we want to learn what all these things do. Well, all this side is just how you build. So if you want to build a farm, you pay a kelp. Well, these are my starting resources. I have a kelp, so boom, I can build that farm. You want to build a deconsolidation plant, which is just say yellow, you pay $1. A lab, the steel. A tunnel, a steel, and a coin. You want to build a city, that's how much it costs. You want to build a fancy city, a symbiotic city they call it, that's how much that costs. Here is when you hit production. So what's production? We play 10 rounds. You're going to play 3 phases of production. You can see them clearly listed. A round consists of us doing 3 actions because we have 3 divers. Okay? I already played 1 out here. That means I have 2 more actions this turn. I'm following the same sequence. I'm putting a diver out. I'm playing a card. But again, if the card color doesn't match the place I signed, I do not do the card. I discard the card. I just do the action on the board. All right. So that's what a round consists of. When that happens, boom, next round. Okay. What happens when we hit the production? Since we're doing all the same things in all these rounds. Production, we're actually going to get our resources. So let's see. Production. So we're going to check here. How many farms do I have? This is what I get. And so forth. All these. Anything on the board, if I have any of these, I look here. This is what I get. Production. You can see the symbol here. All that we're doing. This symbol for victory points, which we track here. Cool. All right. And also anything that gives this symbol. So if there's cards, here, I just see one that I discarded. This gives me an ability. All right. So I have this here. I would look, do I have 3 connected laboratories? If so, hey, I get a kelp. Cool. So anything with those symbols I'm looking at. All right. We can get special cards if we go here. There's some special ones. These ones cost $3. You can see that clearly. This one costs $1. They're just cards for your hand as opposed to drawing them. They're a little better than normal. This means end of game scoring. You can see that symbol here. So these will trigger off at the end of the game to give you victory points. You want to do these later in the game usually. Unless you want to claim them early before your opponent does, if they're very powerful. There are modules in the game that you can add. You can add this for agendas. I'm not going to put them out there, so I don't have to explain them. But they're pretty simple to add. We add them every game. Let's see. Anything else I want for you? Well, we got tunnels. Yeah, I should add some different things. Tunnels connect cities when you can build a tunnel. So you see there's some actions out here. There's tunnel. Those allows you to build 2 tunnels. This one lets you do 1 and an A action. I should go over that too. It's a fairly heavy game, but I don't know. It doesn't seem that heavy when you're playing it, but it is a lot to explain, I guess. So tunnels also you can build with steel and a coin, and they will produce a coin. Also, you're going to do upgrades. That's what this is. If you do an upgrade, then they'll produce even more things. Well, how do you do an upgrade? All you do is stack it usually. If they're a building, you just stack 2 on top of each other. If I want to upgrade this plant, then I just take another yellow. When I paid for it, boom. Normally, upgrades cost science. And again, we can just look at the board. Here's a spot to do an upgrade. It shows that going up. Right now it's showing down because the board's facing backwards, obviously. So you can do that 3 times. You can upgrade different things. You can upgrade your tunnels. You can upgrade whatever. To upgrade a tunnel, all you do is flip it. And now it's prettier. Cool. That's upgrade. When you place a tunnel on, or any object on top of something, you also get that bonus. So in this case, I would get that steel flask. All right. So we're going to keep doing that. And we're also going to build tunnels out to get these little bonuses here and here. This is end game bonuses. You can see the symbol right there. And these are something you just get right away because of that symbol. So it's really just knowing symbols. Once you know the symbols, I mean, this is really easy to play. It's just a matter of knowing the symbols. And that's a very basic overview of how to play. You're going to get better cards as the game goes on. We see we're starting off with basic stuff. And it does get better. These come out after productions. So phase 2 would start right here. Phase 3 and final phase would start right here. And to get better, cooler cards. All right? We're going to tell you what we think. All right, welcome back. We just got done playing Underwater Cities. My review, 9.2. Fantastic, amazing game, amazing decisions. That's my favorite part of it. The decisions you have to make throughout the game, they're agonizingly hard a lot of times. From what place you're going to go, where you're going to assign your diver, to when you will play the cards that go with that diver. Sometimes you want to make sure that you're setting up for a play in the future. Like I need to do this action before I use this card, which can now trigger because I have this many labs, this many whatever. The decisions are phenomenal. This is my first 9 on this channel, and that I do not give 9s out very much. There's only a select few games that earn 9s. For me, this is 2 thumbs way up. I love this game. What about you, Vic?
I gave a very high score as well. I'm an 8.9 on this one. I had a lot of fun. I finally won a game. We played a few times, and it was a great experience. It's always a good time. Like Nick said, the interesting choices are just infinite. I mean, you can go so many different ways. So many abilities can stack up. You can build a little bit of an engine when you have a lot of permanent A function cards, which if you watch the review, you'll know what that is. But it's really great that in that regard. And there's an expansion for it, which we haven't tried yet, haven't added it to our game, but I'm looking forward to doing that because I don't think there's any way that this game could go down in value for us and for experience. A lot of people have compared this game to Terraforming Mars. We've played that game online only, and I had always a great time. For me, I think that Terraforming Mars takes a little bit of an edge over this game for me personally. Just because Terraforming Mars has some take that stuff that I sometimes feel inclined to play that kind of game where.
I think I would give it, I'll give the edge to Underwater Cities for me. Because the cards sometimes in Terraforming Mars, they're not applicable toward the end of the game. Whereas this game, the cards get better as the phases. So there's pros and cons to both.
That's a good point, Nick. I didn't really think about that. That is one redeeming quality of Underwater Cities, that you really feel like the game is progressing with you, as opposed to getting a card that, you know, would have been useful in the beginning, or vice versa, getting a card that would have been useful at the end, right at the start of the game. So I agree with you on that. Let us know what you think. What do you give the edge to? Terraforming Mars, or are you an Underwater Cities type of person? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for joining us.
Underwater Cities is the answer.